Okay, so I'm coming back to you with solarization and some other information. So this first article is from treehugger.com, treehugger.com. And it's how to solarize soil in 13 easy steps. So, overview: working time is an hour or two. Skill level is beginners. Estimated cost to do this is $2.50 because you just got to get the plastic, and total time to do it 6 to 8 weeks. So let me read it. Soil solarization is a simple and inexpensive way to use the sun to prepare a garden for planting. Solarization involves watering a patch of soil, covering it with clear plastic, then allowing trapped heat from the sun to bake the soil to kill off weeds and pests. A better term for this method might be soil sterilization, because you're not only killing weeds and pests, rather you're killing all organic life in the soil, even the good stuff like earthworms, mycorrhizal fungi, and bacteria that attack pests and break down nutrients to make them available to plant roots. Fortunately, beneficial organisms are usually quick to recolonize the sterilized soil, but you can also speed up the process by reintroducing mycorrhizal spores and beneficial nematodes available at many garden centers. You can also rebuild all of that organic matter with ample applications of compost and composted manure. Before getting started, before you start solarizing your soil, consider the pros and cons of solarization and whether the costs and effort involved in different methods of weed and pest control. Number one, solarization only works in an area that receives a full day sun for an extended period of time, 6 to 8 weeks. Insufficient sunlight will not build up enough heat underneath the plastic. It is better for clay soils that retain water than sandy ones that drain easily. The process involves large sheets of non-recyclable plastic, which eventually need to be disposed of. Solarization kills off soil-borne fungi and bacteria that can harm plants, but it will not affect those that are airborne. While it is better to kill off weed seeds that are close to the surface, solarization is not as affected on root systems that go deeper than 8 inches into the soil. Solarization should begin in late spring, before most seeds have had a chance to germinate and larvae have had a chance to emerge. The sheets should be kept on through the hottest part of the summer. The process uses ample amounts of water, which may not be environmentally friendly if you live in an arid climate or need to conserve water. So, alternatives to solarization. Weed seeds will be blowing into your garden soil, into your new garden soil. After all, your garden will never remain weed-free. Is the weed problem small enough that regular hand weeding will keep the weeds at bay? So think about that. The best weed control is a healthy garden with few bare spots where weeds can take hold. You may not need to kill off all the weed seeds before planting a lush garden. Pests will always find your garden as well. If you have an infestation or there are other natural ways to control pests, that might just be as effective. So let me read this. This is why I wanted to read this, and I did some more research. For example, Milky Spore is a bacterium that gets rid of Japanese beetle grubs in the soil. It is harmless to other animals and to all plants, introducing predatory insects like ladybugs might also control your pest problem. So what you'll need: a garden fork, which I have one hoe or garden rake, one garden hose, one sheet clear plastic, one soaker hose optional, fabric pins, staples, and or duct tape. And so it just basically tells you to clear away the debris, break up the soil, which is what I do, break large clods of soil so that the garden bed is friable, crumbly, and ready to plant. Level and smooth the soil. Use a hoe or garden rake to level and smooth out the soil so that you have a relatively smooth and even surface. Water. Soak the soil with a water hose to roughly 1 foot depth. The soil should neither pool on the surface nor drain too easily. Optional, lay a soaker hose over the soil so that it can be occasionally watered. Cover the surface with a sheet of greenhouse plastic or other clear, not dark plastic. Pin down plastic sheets. Secure the plastic sheets in place with landscape fabric pin staples. Pin the plastic as tightly to the soil as possible. Add soil. Cover the ends and sides of the sheeting with a few inches of soil to prevent blowing or tearing. Okay, got it. Check the plastic sheet for tears or holes and repair with duct tape. Wait 6 to 8 weeks. Longer is better. Remove plastic. Find a way to reuse or recycle the plastic, keeping in mind that you may need to repeat the solarization process every few years. Add compost. Use a garden fork to amend your now sterile soil with compost, being careful not to turn over the soil and bring weed seeds up to the surface. Water the compost. Begin planting. So that's solarization, and I thought the Milky Spore stuff was very interesting. So I decided to look up what Milky Spore was. So I found a couple of things. The name of this website is called plantcaretoday.com. And the title of the article is Milky Spore, How to Use It for Japanese Beetle Control. Let's see. Milky Spore disease is a sickness only affecting Japanese beetle larvae, but this is a very good thing if you have problems with Japanese beetle infestation, which I do. In this article, we explain what Milky Spore disease is and how to inflict it upon your Japanese beetle population. Read on to learn. Why are Japanese beetles bad? It doesn't take many Japanese beetles to strip your plants bare in nothing flat. What the beetles don't get, their larvae will. Japanese beetle grubs or grub worms lurking beneath the surface of the soil in your yard or garden will devour roots and kill plants and grass roots from below. Japanese beetle larvae are flat, white, C-shaped grubs. Just as caterpillars are susceptible to treatment with Bacillus or BT, because I can't pronounce it, Japanese beetle larvae are susceptible to treatment with Milky Spore. It's hard to kill adult beetles, but if you kill them before they become adults, your problem is mostly solved. How does Milky Spore bacillus work? Milky Spore is an important part of integrated pest management, IPM, but it isn't a modern phenomenon. This natural bacterium has been in use by gardeners for a very long time, and it remains the go-to solution for killing off grub worms. When you apply Milky Spore in little piles at regular intervals to the surface of your soil, it soaks into the ground and dissipates and reproduces. The Japanese beetle larvae underground eat the burgeoning bacteria, and it turns their body fluids into a milky liquid, causing them to die. As a bonus, when the grub worm dies, the body releases new spores. Is it safe to use? It's very safe to use. This natural bacterium in your battle with Japanese beetles because they are the only organisms susceptible to this malady. I think that's how you pronounce it. You guys know I don't pronounce stuff right. Sorry. While Milky Spore is of no help at all with other sort of white grub or beetle, it is extremely effective in getting rid of this particular pest. Is it safe to use Milky Spore on plants for human consumption? The USDA has approved Milky Spore for use on beetle grubs. Milky Spore is the common name for the bacteria I can now pronounce it, the active ingredient in some pest control products used to control Japanese beetles. Milky Spore pest control bacterium is completely safe to use in every square foot of your vegetable garden as a repellent. Use a garden dispenser, drop seeder, or dispenser tube every so many square feet based on the product instructions for your lawn care and garden. Is it hard or expensive to use Milky Spore bacterium? It is incredibly easy and thrifty to apply Milky Spore bacterium to your entire lawn and or garden, and you only have to do it once every 2 to 3 years. Once you have applied the bacteria to your lawn and garden, the natural organisms multiply and spread on their own and may not even need to be refreshed for a full decade. And when should Milky Spore bacterium be applied? It is best to apply the bacterium when your soil temperature is and will consistently remain 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just like when I plant loofah, it needs to be consistently 50 degrees. Apply it in autumn before the weather cools. At this time, grubworms tend to feed very aggressively in preparation for winter. This is the best time to give them a hearty meal of Milky Spore. When applying bacterium, do not scatter evenly over the ground. Instead, place small piles at regular intervals over the entire surface of the ground you wish to treat. Your goal is to form a grid work of Milky Spore stations. Okay. Apply the powdered bacterium using a teaspoon and simply drop a teaspoonful every 4 feet in a grid pattern over the entire area. Alternatively, create one of these handy dandy DIY milk spore dispensers as in a video, sorry. After applying the powder to the surface of your lawn or garden, water well with a gentle sprayer from your garden hose. You should water for approximately 15 minutes to make sure the powder is watered in thoroughly. Unfortunately, if you have Japanese beetles and need grub control, you will never get rid of them entirely. That's what I've been saying while I've been pulling out the grubs. However, applying Milky Spore bacterium grub killer will kill off most of the grubs of Japanese beetles lurking beneath the soil. This will also work on killing June bugs. When you kill them off before they get old enough to reproduce, you will sharply reduce their numbers. Of course, Japanese beetles may be breeding and laying eggs in nearby properties and may fly in to damage your garden. But when you treat your soil, remember the bacterium will reproduce on its own and will gradually spread out from your property to form a bit of a safe zone. And it says you've got nothing to lose. So there was one more thing I wanted to read, and give me a moment because now my camera is filling up right now. So now I'm getting to another article called Lawn Chick. And this is why I have the moles, is because of the grubs. Remember I told you when I threw that, gopher poison, the seeds down, I seen a hand on top, and to me that didn't look like a gopher hand, because I've seen gophers, they're usually like this and their head goes up. It was a long head, looked like it's a mole out there. So let me read this. Oh, where did it go? Dang it. Lawn Chick, it was just right here. Oh, let me see if I can just back it up and do it. Yes. Okay, so this article is labeled Milky Spore versus Grubex, because somebody told me to use Grubex, but I tried to do more natural stuff. First, I tried to see where does Milky Spore come from, but it really didn't tell me. It just says it's a natural bacteria. So that's all I can go with. I could probably do a little bit more research, but I didn't want to do that much. So it says grubs are one of the most common and damaging lawn pests in the U.S. They can quickly destroy a beautiful, well-maintained lawn, making it look unsightly and unhealthy. And so today I'm bringing you my Milky Spore versus Grubex comparison to help you choose the best option to get grubs out of your lawn. It says both are very effective treatments for grub control. I'm putting lotion on my hands. Overall, Milky Spore provides a better long-term solution as long as you continue to do the recommended applications. On the other hand, Grubex is more effective in the short term and has guaranteed results up to 4 months. The severity of your grub problem will determine which of these treatments is best for your lawn. So I'm thinking the Milky Spore is best, and I'm probably going to order some today. If you have a severe infestation, Grubex may be the better solution since it can provide quick results but won't hold up in the long term as well as Milky Spore. Some of the most common signs of grubs include brown patches in the turf, wilting or yellowing grass, and easily pulled up grass that is dead underneath. You may also notice an increase in birds and other animals digging in the turf looking for food. It is important to remember that all healthy lawns will have some grubs. This is simply a part of life. This is simply a part of the life cycle of beetles and other insects. But if it's at the point where you can easily find grubs on the surface of your lawn, or your lawn is suffering damage, then it's definitely time to take action before the problem worsens. If left untreated, grubs can cause considerable damage to your lawn and create a breeding ground for other destructive pests. There are numerous organic and synthetic ways to control grubs, but the two most popular and effective treatments I've personally used, are Milky Spore and Grubex, depending on the severity of your grub problem and the type of beetle grubs you're facing. You will want to choose which treatment is right for you. What are Milky Spore and Grubex? Let me take a sip of tea. Milky Spore is a type of bacteria called Bacillus populi, something like that. I won't try to read that again. It works by killing grubs, specifically the larvae of Japanese beetles. You spread the bacteria throughout your lawn, and it will work over the course of several years to establish itself and control grub populations. DoMyOwn.com recommends 6 treatments, 3 times annually for 2 years. So 3 times a year for 2 years. After that, you can enjoy soil that will be largely grub-free for the next 20 years. But remember, I add a bag of soil every year. Lawns that have recurring problems with moles will often use Milky Spore as a solution, as it removes the primary food source and the moles are less likely to invade or remain in the lawn. That's why I'm out there trying to get those grubs, and I'm going to order me some Milky Spore, and it'll probably be delivered tomorrow through Amazon, and I'm going to get out there and put it in the garden beds and water it down. But a note about this product: if you live in an area where your grub population is not Japanese beetles, it may not be effective. I was contacted by a reader from Florida who just judiciously, applied it, but saw no noticeable difference in her yard grub population. She was understandably frustrated, but when I explained to her that Florida didn't, oh man, sorry, something popped up, that Florida, dang it, something popped up while I was reading. Oh, Florida didn't typically have Japanese beetles, then things began to make sense. As with any pest control or weed control product, you won't get results if your targeting is wrong. And then it goes into about Grubex. So Milky Spore is ideal for long-term protection, while Grubex works best in the short term, but may require frequent reapplication if grubs return. So I want the long term because I've been having grubs for the past 2 years, so obviously it's a problem, especially now that a mole has entered one of my garden beds. My advice based on hands-on experience with both products. If you live in an area with active Japanese beetle population, my recommendation would be to apply Milky Spore 3 times annually for 2 years. Then enjoy 2 decades without having to think about grubs in your turf again. However, if you have a grub problem and live in an area where Japanese beetles are not present, or if you simply prefer to incorporate an annual insecticide application to your existing lawn, Grubex will be the better choice. So Milky Spore is for Japanese beetle larvae grubs. Grubex is probably for all grubs that are Japanese and not. Finally, if you do not have a history of grub problems in your yard, don't apply either product. Comparing the cost, a few factors. Milky Spore, 2,500 square feet, 3 applications a year, $52.92. Grubex, 1 application in 1 year, $14.25. To me, I want the long-term stuff. I obviously have Japanese grubs. They're the ones that are sea, white, flat. Those are the ones that I have. So I'm going to go with the Milky Spore. But what got me is when it said moles. And that's what I have out there. So remember, I just covered up the concrete on the other side, and all of a sudden these moles appeared on the other side. So it's going to rain tonight. There's not much I can do. I did get the grubs out of the bed as much as I possibly could, and I planted the gopher purge. But those are moles, because when I saw that finger with that nail, I said, that's a mole. That is not a gopher. Plus, my garden beds are on very hard, compacted soil, and they're digging in that soil. Those are moles. Okay, so that is the end of my video. I just wanted to let you know what I found out about solarization. So I am actually going to try to do solarization on the 3 garden beds in the back where I planted tomato plants. And I'm going to get the Milky Spore bacteria, and I'm probably going to be out there tomorrow throwing it in those garden beds with those moles and in the other garden bed. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys on that and let you know what I read up on it, and for you guys to make your own decision. So the places where I found the information was treehugger.com, plantcaretoday.com, Wikipedia for Milky Spore. I did find something on, I'm not going to read that. Oh, College of Agricultural and Biotechnology and Natural Resources, but I don't know what college this was. UNR. And then this one was called lawnchick.com. So I'm going to put the links in the video and you can research the information for yourself. Okay, so you guys stay safe and keep your garden safe. I love you all. Bye.